Okay, I think we're back. Aye. So, if you're hopping on now, I'm going to give it a second for this link to get sent out. The new link. Oh, YouTube. So, we've recently switched onto YouTube. We always used to do our lives on Facebook or on Zoom, or actually, we have our own network, our own platform that we built. And we would do them a lot in there. And we really wanted to get off of Facebook and the social media. And on our own network, it's awesome, but like you actually have to sign up. And so we were getting where it's like people don't necessarily want to sign up and have another app. And so we've been trying out YouTube, but I'll tell you, these last couple times I have not been happy with YouTube. Like I like a lot of things about it because it's like the picture's really clear, the voice is really clear, it gets pushed. Like our live videos, like we'll have thousands and thousands of people find it, which is really awesome. But like, yeah, we keep having this whole black screen and it not starting like it's supposed to. So not cool. Not cool. So I'll give it a second for you guys to hop back on. Hopefully, we get everybody back and then we can get going again. So bear with us. But we have a lot of, come on, YouTube, we believe in you. I know, right? Come on, YouTube, come on. I know you're new to the whole, like, people using this like Facebook, but like, come on. We believe in you, YouTube. We believe in you. You can do this. Because I got good stuff to give you guys. Really, really, really good stuff. Because one of the things I am super passionate about, and we're really passionate about at Hey You Human, is really like leveling the playing fields. Like there's a reason why a lot of people get ahead and a lot of people don't. And it's really because they have access to a lot of information and understanding that most people don't. And furthermore, they have people that believe in them and people that cheer them on. And so many people don't. Like they just don't. And so we really want to change that. I want it to be where everybody really starts to have the opportunity to get ahead in life and to create the life that they really, really know they want. Because I believe in all of you and I know it can happen. So that's what we're here to talk about in our business builders hacks, is giving you the hacks, guys, that like not everybody freaking knows about. I have had the privilege of being in some of the best sales and marketing trainings in the world. Through my corporate career, through my fundraising career, I have had the ability to sit in front of some of the best sales and marketing people in the world and learn from them and learn the research and learn the understanding, because a lot of this is very, very researched. And that's what we're really going to talk about and really understand so that it can help you guys in your business. Because as I was saying before, the black screen of death got me. And so if you're hopping on now and watching this, there's a prior video up there that you may want to check out where I was getting started and talking about kind of the trifecta of business, which is really the marketing, the mindset, and the energy belief part of it. And we're kind of in the emotional part of it. And we're going to hit on all of that. Today is really going to be the marketing and the money side. Tomorrow is going to be that procrastination issue. And the last day is going to be that emotional resilience, because you need them all. That's where the magic happens in your business. When all of those are on board, when you know how to market, how to sell, how to do all of that stuff, you believe in yourself and you actually do it, and your emotions and nervous system and all of that is on board to receive and allow it and to keep going, you got the trifecta. Like you're on it. You're on it. Let's go. And we're going to talk about a lot of that today, about these meeting points that really, when you have this and this, it works really well. And I was kind of talking about that a little bit, where people tend to fall into either the strategic side or like the energetic side, right? Like, oh, I'm just going to manifest myself the business. I'm just going to sit here and believe. That's great. But we live in a physical world and you got to get out there and actually do it, and do it in a way that the world's going to get it. And that's what we're going to talk about for sure, because I'm a person that believes absolutely anything's possible. Anything's possible. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. I am a visionary in that way where I believe that absolutely everything and anything is possible and you can create anything in this world. I know it. Period. I mean, there was a time where we weren't able to fly. Now we can fly. There was a time where we weren't able to do a million different things, and now we are. We are limitless people in a limitless universe capable of doing anything. But the thing is that some of those things that we may want to do may take a whole lot longer to do if we're creating an entirely new path. And a lot of us want to create an entirely new path. A lot of us look at standard marketing and we go, ooh. And a lot of times we look at it not because it's actually bad, but because we've been burned. And I'm going to talk about that because I had a very bad breakup with marketing a while back that was really detrimental to my business. And I learned so much. And I'm actually so thankful that it happened because it really allowed me to understand some things about marketing and sales in the business world that I couldn't quite get. That now I started to go, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. So today's all of the sales, marketing, and money. Tomorrow's going to be how we move through that procrastination and actually do it. And then the third day is going to be emotional resilience, because I'm going to tell you this. If any of you are going to grow a business or are growing a business or in the throes of it, you've got to be a motherfucking badass. You have got to be a badass. Businesses, growing them is going to throw all sorts of stuff at you. We're going to talk about what we do with that on day 3. We'll talk about that a little bit today when we get into the marketing, because a lot of marketing is you got to go and you got to do it. And you got to not worry about what everybody thinks. But how do we get there? How do we get to a place where we just are out there doing it and not worrying about it? So first, I want to tell you a little story, because at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you almost every problem you have in business. If you're telling me you have sales problems, if you tell me you're having lead problems, I know people get all like, oh, don't call people leads, but for the ease of this conversation, getting people into the business, right? If you're having sales problems, if you're having converting problems, if you're having money problems, if you're having all of these seemingly problems that most businesses have that are sometimes they're usually their biggest problems, your real problem is usually your marketing. And people, when they think marketing, they think like the outside marketing. They think that first thing you see. But that's not true. Marketing actually lives through your entire business, because there's really only three things to having a successful business. You only need 3 things. People overcomplicate business so much, when you really only need 3 things. You need an audience and or people, right? I don't care if you're this, and this applies no matter what business you are. If you are a brick and mortar dentist, if you are a company making pens, if you are a coach, if you are a accountant, this applies to all of you. All of you. You need people. You need people to know about you, to find you, to come to you. You need to nurture those people, and then you need to convert those people, or AKA sell to them. I often use the word converting. Sounds better. I feel like sales has such a bad rap when you say you got to sell to people. People are like, I don't want to sell. So think about, you need to welcome them in to your business or help them purchase your product. However you want to phrase it, those are the things you're going to need. You got to have the people. You got to get the people to like you or your product, and then you got to convert them. And these are often things that nobody wants to look at in their business. And usually it's because they've been burned. Now, the thing about the marketing is the marketing really has to be seamless. And this is the part I'm really excited to talk with you guys about, because this is the thing that is the most mysterious part of marketing. Why I can do a post, and we have people steal our stuff all the time. Why I can do a post and someone else can take it and it doesn't work for them. Why somebody can steal a sales page and it doesn't work for them, or maybe it does. Or you get a strategy and you go to use it and it doesn't work. Or why you try to do manifesting, but for some reason it works for them, but not for you. Or you try to teach this, but it doesn't work for you. Or you're trying to sell the same product as that person over there the same way, but like something's still not working there. We're going to unveil these mysteries so that you can really start understanding what's going on in your business and make it work better. So let me tell you a story. So I cut my teeth in my career. I had a lot, like right after college, I actually wanted to go to medical school. That was actually what I was going to do. And then I deferred for a year. And then I was like, I don't want to go to medical school. Ugh. Like, I feel like I just graduated college and finally got done with that. Like, I don't want to go back to school for all these years. Like, I want to like go live and do stuff. So I never went to medical school. And that kind of left me in this space of floundering. Like, I moved out of the country for a moment, did some medical mission work. Then I taught at a university for a while. I taught anatomy and physiology at a community college, like did some really interesting things. Like I was kind of just like floundering through life for a moment. And I really actually loved teaching. It makes sense why I am here still teaching. I loved it. Like teaching those kids all the anatomy and physiology, all the stuff about the body and the bones, teaching the labs. Like I loved it. I would do it all day. I would teach literally from 7 in the morning until like 5. I would teach. I would just have class after class after class after class. Let me tell you, that is exhausting on your body. If you've ever done that, exhausting. But here's the thing, guys, and I'm going to be real and honest with you. There's no money in teaching, especially not at a community college. And I wanted to make more money. And so somebody said to me, why don't you go into sales? And so I had recently moved to Texas and I kind of tripped and fell into this position. And with this guy who kind of groomed me to be a commercial insurance agent. So I got my license, learned all the stuff, and became a commercial insurance agent. Random, right? Actually fascinating. Insurance is a fascinating world. Anyways, it's an extremely, extremely male-dominated world. Extremely male-dominated world. There was, I think, maybe 16 producers there at the company I was at. I was the only woman producer. All the other women were like the helpers. And this guy that had hired me was the owner of the company. And he was just like, you are going to kill it. Like, you're smart, you're beautiful, you're magnetic, like you're going to kill it. And so I go out into this world of commercial insurance, which is commercial insurance is business insurance. So selling insurance to businesses. And I'm getting a lot of leads, right? And we're going to talk about this. I'm going to go down into kind of audience building and how you do this, because this is the part people often don't like, because this is like the grunt work. Like this is the part where you have to go. I mean, I remember having times where I had called 50 people in a day. And I always say, like, often you see this where sometimes some of the best business owners, like, like the Sarah Blakeleys of the world, the owner of Spanx and stuff, like you often see, or Greg Renifew, who's Beauty Counter CEO, like a lot of these women CEOs that I know, a lot of them, they really cut their teeth, like selling Xerox machines, selling a computer paper, like all of this stuff. And I often feel like, I look back at that time in my life and I think of like the resilience it made me. Because like, I mean, sometimes I would call all week people. Like you'd probably have a list of 250 people you'd call in a week and you get like 2 meetings out of it. And the rest of it was like, no. Like there was a lot of chasing involved. And it's really funny because when I look back, I think like, oh my God, like I would never want to do that again. But in some sense, like it really helped me understand rejection, which we're actually going to talk about when it comes to marketing, because a lot of people don't end up marketing or doing the thing because they're scared of the no. They're scared of the post that's not going to go anywhere. They're scared of the event they do that nobody shows up to at their place. Like that's going to happen, you guys. Like just get used to the fact that like in business, you're going to have things that are viral successes. And I mean that from a social media and like a brick and mortar perspective. And you're going to have things that just flop. But the flops aren't failures. The flops are moments to go, oh, what did we do different here? Why didn't this work? So here I am, a commercial insurance agent. And what I notice is this. I'm getting a lot of meetings. I'm getting a lot of guys to talk to me. And remember, I'm selling to businesses. So I'm literally meeting most of the time with men, usually like 35 to 65-year-old white dudes who own companies. And I'm meeting with them. They're loving what I have to say. They're like, wow, you're smart. Oh my God, you're showing me holes in my insurance, blah, 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 blah. They're like blown away. And I'm getting a whole lot more meetings than the rest of my people. Like all the other dudes are like, how do you get all these meetings? Well, part of it is because I'm a pretty girl. I'm a pretty girl. These guys are like, yeah, you can come to my office, pretty lady, right? Use sometimes what works for you. But the problem was, guys, is I wasn't closing many accounts. And it was driving me nuts. It was driving me nuts. I'm like getting all these meetings. I'm blowing these guys away. And does anybody ever feel like that? Do you ever feel like that in your business where you're like, you're getting all the people, they're liking what you're saying. And I've been here again in this business before where I'm like, everybody's opening our emails, everybody's liking what we're saying. What? Why aren't we converting? Ah! Right? And I'm sure that you've had those moments where you're like, the hell? So I had the guy who hired me, the owner, I had him come to some meetings with me. I said, will you come down here? He was in a different city than I. And I said, will you just come to these meetings with me and see, like, is it my sales? Like, what is it? So this dude comes with me. He's like a 65-year-old, white-haired, good old boy Texan. Remember, I'm in Texas too, guys, South Texas. So not only am I mean, at this point, I'm like 25 years old. So not only am I this young woman, but I'm also in like the deep, dirty South, which often has a different reflection of women than some other parts of the world and the United States. So this guy comes with me, and wouldn't you know it, I'm like closing everything that day. Like closing everything. And he wasn't helping me sell at all. He would just sit there and like at the end when we were talking about it, he'd be like, we're going to take great care of you. We have the best company. I'm the owner, sir. Like, da, 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 da. And I get done with that day, and all of a sudden I realize it's not my sales. It's not what I'm saying. It's not what I'm doing. It's that I'm a fucking woman. I'm a young woman. And there is a disconnect in my marketing. There's a disconnect in my marketing. So people can give you all the things all day long about marketing. They can give you all the research. They can give you this color will work and that will work and say this and do that and da, 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 da. But if your marketing is not streamlined from start to finish, meaning if there is a subconscious bias or programming that throws a wrench in there and kinks it up, you're going to have a problem. Now, what I ended up doing was I had another producer in my office who was like the old white dude male. And so when I would bring people into my office, then I would say, hey, can you come out and like shake their hand and talk about our company and stuff? And so my closing rate went up a whole lot because I started to realize I needed a man in those rooms with me. I needed a man in closing with me. Now, what often happens in cases like this is we get pissed. And let me tell you, I was pissed. I was freaking annoyed. I was like, this damn world. Like, I know what I'm doing better than all these 16 dudes. And now I got to have a stupid dude in my office so that I can close these darn accounts. I got to have this guy come in, shake their hand so that they think they're safe with a man. Because why? We have all these subconscious programmings in our head. And marketers know this, you guys. The best companies and the best marketers in the world know this. And so they streamline it perfectly. You know why? When we had all of this stuff happen around like the Black Lives Matter, and a lot of the people were like, well, we're not represented in marketing. We're not represented in companies. Yeah, you know why? Because we have lived in a world for so long that has made certain things the authority on certain things. Now, this can change. For example, throw my pretty white self into the manifestation world. Oh, and I'm the authority, baby cakes. I'm the authority. Throw a 65-year-old white dude into the spiritual manifesting world. Woo, it's a little, yeah, a little harder. Right? And so there's different biases in all sorts of different little bubbles. And you got to get your little bubbles, friends, to all line up from start to finish. So what may be happening in your business is you're saying all the right things to get people in. They're like, oh my God, this is great. But then maybe they're either seeing you or they're seeing your product or they're seeing something that's going, disconnect, not buying, not buying. And so you have to look at each little piece in your marketing to see what could be happening. And a lot of this comes from trial and error. A lot of this comes from really trial and error with your business. And when it comes to businesses, guys, you have to pivot fast. This is something I see a lot of business owners not doing. I see a lot of business owners doing the same thing over and over again and being told that if they're just consistent, success will follow. Well, you need to be consistent, but you also often need to sit back and say, do I need to change something? Is something not working? You know, I'll give you an example, like with in our business, you know, we switched our entire business model up to a membership, and forever we could not get people to join the membership. Like it was like their brain did not compute. Compute. So then we started just telling people, oh, just join this course. And guess what? You can also get this course for free if you join the membership. And then everybody started to join the membership. All because we just put a course in between it. Same thing. They're literally getting the exact same thing. But the audience we were speaking to was not used to a membership for this type of thing. What were they used to? A course. And so that made sense. We streamlined it. The men in the insurance world that I was selling to were not used to a young woman handling their insurance. What were they used to? Old white man. Pop in the old white man. I can bring in the leads. I can do great insurance. Sit next to me during closing. We got a deal. And like I said, a lot of times we get mad about this. We get mad. And we actually often kind of almost go through our little 5-year-old and we rebel against it. Why does the world have to be this way? I don't want to market this way. I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it my way. And y'all, I 100% respect that. I 100% respect that. But what I want you to understand is that if you want to do it your way, it likely is going to take longer. Why? Because one of the best business building hacks you can learn and understand now is look at what is already working in the world and capitalize on it, but do it kind of tweaked your own way a little bit. Your own way a little bit. And while you're doing that, then start working on changing the world over here. Because at the end of the day, really changing things takes decades, you guys. Our brains and our ability to process don't change that fast. They just don't. They will eventually. People do adapt. But when you look at it, there's a very small percentage of people who are early adapters. Very small. It's like less than 3% of the population are early adapters. And for your business to really thrive, you need to get to at least 10%. 10% is like the tipping point. When you get to that, at 12 is like, when you get to that part of your market saturation, that's where you have the exponential boom. That's where you see it. And that happened to us in 2020. So basically we were kind of in this small bubble teaching what we know how to teach. And the way we went from having like $20,000 months to having $250,000 months was that we got our seamless marketing existed, but we got in front of the exact right audience that was perfect for us and perfect for what we were saying, perfect for how I looked. And let me tell you, I'll be straight up and real honest with you. It's not fair. It's not fair. Like, if I can tell you one thing about this, like people can say all the time, oh, it's an equal opportunity world out there. Bullshit, is it? Bullshit, it is not an equal opportunity world out there. At the end of the day, we have a long, long history worldwide of white authority, meaning that if you are white, you are going to have authority in almost everything. We also have a white man authority, meaning if you are a white man, you're going to have more authority. Now, obviously, that changes in some subs, right? You get like, if you're going to talk cleaning or cooking or houseware, women dominate, other cultures are going to dominate in certain other areas that are more specific to them. But when it comes to the business world in general, a business owner, you can look at the statistics and you can see that it is still very male, pale, stale men. It's men. It's a male-dominated world. Interestingly enough, the same amount of women and minorities are starting businesses as men, but they're just not succeeding. And that's a problem. It's a big ass problem. And part of the problem is that they don't have the immediate authority that somebody else who looks the certain way or knows about how to market does. So what do we do with that? Well, we beat them at their own game is what you got to do. And we're going to break this down a little bit. But what I first have to get you guys on board with is understanding that marketing isn't bad. So let me tell you about my bad breakup. Because like I said, I'm a marketing freaking genius. I'm really, really good at marketing. It was one of the reasons why I was able to build the company that I was able to build so quickly. I had a lot of training in it. After I did my commercial insurance, I actually went into the fundraising world. And I worked for American Heart Association and March of Dimes. And I mean, fundraising at the end of the day is sales. Like it's almost even more ridiculous than sales. I mean, you're just convincing people to give you tons and tons of money. And I say convincing because like it really is convincing people. Like after being in the big nonprofit world, I could do a whole series on the interestingness of that. Anyways, that's for another day. But I had some of the best marketing. I knew how to do it. I knew how to do seamless marketing. I knew how to do branding. I knew how to make it look from start to finish. I understood a lot of the bias, that existed. I knew I had a leg up. I knew all of this. And I knew too, to like look at my target person and actually see like, are they going to be receptive to a woman or do I need to have a man? Are they going to be receptive to this or do I need to have this? Like I was very good at knowing my target audience. And that is something that you guys, when it comes to marketing, you have to get good at. Remember, we talked about the 3 things you need: that audience, nurturing them, and converting them. Who is your audience? And this is so annoying. I know when people talk about like, who is your client avatar? Who are they? What do they like? What do they want? What do they eat? How do they smell? And I get it. It's annoying. It's annoying. I remember being in damn client avatar. But it's very, very important, especially if your business has not hit that tipping point yet, that 12%. Once you hit a certain point and you kind of go like this, it's actually not as important anymore because now you've transitioned to word of mouth. Now you have an authority overall as a business and a brand. And so people are just going to see the sheer size of you, the sheer like activity you have going on. And that is going to create an authority within itself that is going to allow you to just acquire people in a larger audience. But before that happens, you guys, you have got to know who you're talking to because you have got to have that streamline. You have got to have how you're talking to them and bringing them in, match how you're nurturing them, match what you're selling to them, and match actually how you look and present yourself, especially if you're a personal brand. If it's not you, then it needs to be the product. Now, here's where the caveat works for my people who may not look this way. And I remember seeing this during 2020. I wish I would have paid more attention to this person, because I think they just had a hilarious brand. But she was in the manifesting world, and she basically called herself the fat, ugly manifesting guru or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but she was a very big woman. She was not like societally agreed upon attractive, right? Like what society believes and programs us to believe is attractive. But she was in the manifesting world. And so her whole platform was around stop listening to these skinny rich bitches who have everything going for them and aren't manifesting. They're basically just like living their happy lives. Come talk to me, who's had to overcome all of this stuff and has still created a bomb ass life for myself. That's real manifesting. So when it comes to marketing and we don't fit the mold, the streamline is not there. Like for me, right? I didn't fit the mold in my commercial insurance. Now, had I known what I know now back then, I actually wouldn't have needed the white dude with me because I would have known what I know now, which is when that disconnect is occurring, you just need to call it out. Because that person usually actually doesn't know why they're not buying from you. They're usually like, I want this. I need this. I like this. I don't know. They don't really know why they're not buying from you, but there's a disconnect in the streamline. You might not look like the cultural bias of what they have been conditioned and programmed for freaking generations to believe a person doing A, B, and C, or a person selling A, B, and C, or a person owning A, B, and C should look like and act, or a product should look like and be packaged and all of that stuff, right? Now, what you do is you call it out. You make it known, just like this girl was like, hey, I get it. I'm not cute. I am overweight. Why the hell should I be teaching you about manifesting? Let me tell you why. So had I known this, I could have had a whole thing when I went to talk to these dudes and I could have been like, look, I get I'm not your typical insurance agent. I get that I am young and I am a woman. And you are probably like, what business does this 25-year-old woman have to do in here? I get it. You don't feel safe with me. You feel like I am a girl who doesn't know what she's doing. But let me tell you this, I do. And let me tell you why I'm better than the boys. So you point it out and then you tell them why you're better. And so a lot of you who may not fit whatever mold it is you're trying to sell, maybe you're a hot blonde accountant over here and like you're just throwing everybody off when they meet you because they're like, why does this accountant look like a supermodel? Like, what the hell? Right? Point it out. Hey, I know I'm not your typical accountant. I get it. People always are like, you should be like a fashion model or something. But you know what? I'm an accountant. I'm the best damn accountant you're ever going to meet. Right? Maybe you are, I see this a lot with clients who are older women trying to get into the online business space. Right? In the online business space is really, really heavily inundated with young chicks. Right? A lot of it is these young women. You see like the older men and then a lot of young women. And so a lot of times older women try to get into this online business space and people are like, disconnect, call it out. Say, hey, I get it. I'm not your typical coach. I know I don't look like all of these girls out there, but here's why I'm better. Here's why me looking like this and me being who I am is actually better for you than me fitting the mold. Does that make sense? Is this resonating with you guys? I feel like you're very quiet over there. Maybe that's okay. Maybe you're just taking all the notes. I appreciate that. Taking it all in. But that's where I see a big disconnect where it's like somebody might take what I'm doing and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to kind of duplicate this. And you might take a course and it's like, just do A, B, C, D, and D, and it'll work. And you take it and you're like, well, this isn't working for me. Why is it working for these people? Well, is everything seamless? Are you actually in a market that makes sense? That makes sense to your audience? And this is where you have to start looking. This is where the market research comes in. You guys, we get so like, oh, we just kind of want to like put the middle finger up to our like competitors half the time. And like Melissa said, blame in a way. Like we want to like blame these people. Like, why do they get to have this and I don't? This is where you want to research what they're doing. Why is it working for them? What's different about you than them? And I'm going to talk about finding the gap in a second when we get to the sales stuff. But the problem that often happens with marketing, and this is going to tie in a little bit to day 2 and day 3. The problem that happens a lot of times with marketing is we get burned. And when we get burned, we write it all off. So I got burned. So I was over here building this business, marketing my little pants off. We were growing and blowing. I knew the audience I needed to get in front of. I got in front of that audience, but boom, we blow up. Amazing things are happening. Like we are just, going, 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 going. And then I get burned. Then it's like I almost like feel like I joined like a cult and got like ickily manipulated into all sorts of stuff. And I felt the ick all over my body. And then I started to just feel the ick of the whole, I was in like kind of the coaching, spiritual coaching, mentoring, manifestation world. And I just felt the ick all over my body. And I was like, this is so icky. Like I could see the dopamine hijacking, which is a big thing that happens in marketing, right? Where people actually get you into such an emotional state, either sad emotions or happy emotions, to where you no longer have any logic and you can just get people to buy like that. And I started to see it. It was like the veil was like the curtain was on. I was like, oh God, this is bad. Like this is all like the traditional marketing. I mean, traditional marketing, you guys, is cutthroat. I mean, it is cutthroat. Some of these marketing classes I took, I mean, like they straight up teach you how to speak and put words together in a way that it puts people almost into like a hypnotic state so that you can just like get them to buy. Like, I mean, marketing is absolutely fascinating on the way they have studied us as humans, studied our brains, studied how we process, to where they just hijack us. I even teach my kids about it. I call them the marketing monsters. I say the marketing monsters will get you if you are not in control here. They will. And it's gross and it's not good. But there's a lot of marketing that's fantastic. There's a lot of it that's fantastic. And if you aren't marketing, nobody's going to know about you guys. And so I saw this and I was so grossed out, you guys. I was like, oh my God. And I felt like I was doing this. And in hindsight, when I look back, like I wasn't doing any of this. Like we needed to clean up a few things in our business, but that was actually not even around necessarily marketing. It was like very few things. And it was more around actually some of our language to make sure that we were being equitable and inclusive in certain regards. And that's still something we are in the process of doing and learning and understanding. That's going to take, a while to really do. It really wasn't in the marketing thing, but I just felt grossed out. And in doing that, I just rejected it all. And I was like, we're no longer marketing. We're no longer selling. We're just going to put our product out there and people can buy it. People can buy it, right? And this is what a lot of people were saying. I don't want marketing anymore. I don't want people to try and like bonus us and do this. And we don't want this anymore. Like, right? This is what everybody's saying. And it's funny because I've been in several situations in my life where people have told me what they want and you give them what they want. And then they're like, no. You're like, but you told me this is exactly what you wanted. People often don't know what they want. See, this whole thing of all these people being like, I don't want to be marketed to. I don't want to be sold. Blah, 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 blah. So we stopped. I literally, you guys, I went through, it was like I said, it was like a bad breakup. You know, when you go through like a bad breakup and you like break up with a boy, he was like, or a man or a girl or a something different, whatever, this world and all the different genders we have happening, whatever. You break up with a human and you're just like, I hate all humans. Never love them again. Right? That comes from wounding. And this is where we're going to talk about this on day 3, because a lot of the shit decisions we make in business come from our wounding. A lot of times it is our trauma, our unresolved trauma from childhood or from somewhere else playing out in our business. And you don't want that. You don't want to play out your trauma in your business, but often that's where our business is here to grow us, to evolve us so that it can actually work. And so a lot of times that's where it ends up showing up. Bleh. We don't want that. That's what we're going to talk about in day 3, how we navigate that so that our business doesn't show up. But anyways, y'all, my trauma was showing and I had been burned. I felt like I had been, and I'm sure some of you, and if you guys are coming to me from the coaching realm and the the mentoring space, I'm sure you have had that experience where it's like you feel like it was just icky and off and wrong, and you can't even put your finger on what exactly happened. You just feel and that's how I felt. And it took me close to a year, maybe even longer, to really differentiate what the hell happened here. And quite honestly, if you want to know that full story, on our YouTube channel, there is there's another video on here called the conversation about the coaching industry. And I actually break down what actually happened there. And we get a lot of messages about that video because a lot of people have that feeling, but they can't figure out what actually happened. And once you can kind of figure out what happened, it allows you to finally get over it and move on. Because what I saw a lot of people doing, and I still see a lot of people doing, is in business, they get burned. And when they get burned, they write it off. And so we wrote it off. I was like, no more marketing, no more sales. We're just going to put our product out there, talk about what we can offer, and just leave it. And you know what happened, you guys? All these people that wanted this, nobody bought at all. It was like crickets. I mean, we had our people that already knew and loved us. We already had an audience built. So for us, it was a little bit of an easier transition, and we were able to, be okay because we already had a rather large audience that knew us. And so they were buying, right? But they already knew us. We already nurtured them. We already converted them. But in terms of new people, we were no longer getting new people. We weren't getting new people. We weren't marketing. We weren't putting ourselves out there. And then we weren't converting if they did find us. We weren't doing anything. We were like sitting ducks, being like, well, everything good will come to us. Now that we're in this good energy of doing only good things for humanity. Cricket, 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 cricket. So I had to really go into this burning. I had to go heal my burn. Like I said, day 3, stay tuned. We're going to talk about what we do there. Because at that point, my wounding was really running the show. I was like, I'm not marketing. I'm not putting bonuses on. I'm not doing any of this. And then we just saw the business, our income just decrease month over month, until I got to the point where I was like, okay, now we're about to be in trouble. We got to make money. Because again, guys, if your business is not making money, we have problems. And money is extremely important. We're going to talk about that in a second here. We're probably going to go a little over the hour today because I just have so much to tell you. So much to tell you. We're going to get into money in a second. But this is just too juicy for me to stop. So if you got to jump off at the hour and come back later, I get it. But make sure you come back later because this is good stuff that you guys need to know. So I had to go work through my emotions and my energy and my bullshit around marketing. And once I did that, I realized I wasn't doing any of that crap. There was a few things that we stopped doing that kind of was borderline, but that's not what we were doing. And marketing, at the end of the day, there's nothing absolutely wrong with it. And in fact, it's absolutely crucial because we don't live in a world yet that is ready for you to just plop out your product and say, hey, if you want it, come get it. We don't. People have been too programmed, too conditioned to buy and see things in a certain way, even with the prices and stuff, you guys. Like, you know why people like to end their stuff in a 7? Because we've been programmed to believe that if it ends in a 7, we get a deal. You can thank Walmart for that. That was Walmart's doing. But keep in mind, it took Walmart 20 years before that caught on. And so these things happen, but they take decades to catch on. So I'm not saying don't do stuff new. We're doing stuff new in our business. But there has to be this happy medium. While you're doing the new stuff, guys, you got to make money. You got to make money, and it's going to be way easier for you to make money by plugging in to these systems and processes that are already plugged in to our programming and conditioning that most people are not working to change right now. 99.9% of our world operates in that way. There's a very small percentage of people that operate a different way. Now, keep in mind, this changes based on your audience. This is why it's very important for you to know who your person is. So this changes based on our audience. So for example, when I was in the spiritual coaching world, 97 didn't work. You had to do like the 222, the 555, the 1111. Like it had to be all of that. That world had been built up for a while to see it that way. Go into the corporate world. They just want straight numbers. $1,000, $2,000, $20,000. They also want higher numbers. Walk into the freaking corporate world and tell them you're going to change their entire marketing department for $1,000. They're like, well, you're not legit. I have a great business associate that I work with, and she says, I often get people who come to me who are trying to branch out their business into the corporate world, and they've been trying and they've been trying and they've been trying, and nothing works. And she says, 9 times out of 10, I tell them to add another 0 to their price, and they start making sales like that. Why? Because the bias in the corporate world is just, shit's expensive. Good stuff costs way up here. And so here you may be thinking, well, hell, I'm going to come in with the deal of a lifetime for these corporate people. Hell, shit, that doesn't work. Something we're doing at Hey You Human with our membership is we've really taken all of our stuff and put it into a membership and put it at a really reasonable price. But you know what? That in itself is something new. That's going to take a moment. We're kind of trailblazers on that. And that's why putting the course in between the membership really helped with the brain of our audience to be like, oh yeah, this, okay. Because otherwise just going to that was like, wait, that can't be right. Why would you be giving me all this at that price? The streamline, you guys, the streamline. It has to all match up. And a lot of the way you're going to get it to match up, my friends, is through trial and error. And that is something you are going to have to get used to as a business owner. You're going to do things, and some of them are all of a sudden you're going to be like, whoa, that worked. What did we do? And other times you're going to do stuff and you're going to be like, what the hell? Why didn't that work? And you're going to have to sit there. Day 3 is going to help you with that, because a lot of times our emotions get involved with that. And that's okay. That's actually important. That's an important piece of it too. But if we don't know how to navigate that, if we don't know how to handle it, if we don't know how to use it in a productive way, it ends up just being a shit show. We try something, it doesn't work, we're an emotional mess, and then we're scared to go out and do anything again. We get into the procrastination. We end up in a trauma response because we don't want to feel that way again. But that is part of business. If you are unable to try and fail and try and fail, you ain't going anywhere. You ain't going anywhere. You gotta pivot, you gotta move, and you gotta pivot fast. Especially if you're a new business, you gotta pivot fast until you get the well-oiled machine. Then once you get the well-oiled machine, then you just rinse, repeat, tweak, rinse, repeat, tweak, add on, rinse, repeat, tweak. Then you have that well-oiled machine. But if you're not at the stage yet of the well-oiled machine, you got to pivot, you got to tweak, you got to trip and fall, you got to do all of the things, and you have to make it mean nothing about you. The biggest issue we have with our businesses is we make our business about us. We make every time someone doesn't make us say about us, every time someone doesn't buy about us. Your business is not you and you are not your business. You are two separate entities. You are you and your business is this. And when you look at your business, growing a business is going to have all sorts of stuff and it means nothing about you. Sometimes it means you have some shit you need to clear. We'll talk about that in day 2 and 3. But it doesn't mean just because nobody wants to buy from you that like you're a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad person. It means something's not working in your streamline of build an audience, nurture your audience, sell to your audience. Now, when it comes to the marketing and the sales component, your biggest leg up is going to be go look at what the other people in your industry are doing or industry close to you. Some of you might be starting new industries. And if you're starting a new industry like we are, right? We're starting this whole human development industry. Keep in mind that sometimes you're going to need to straddle the fence. Sometimes while you're building out the new industry, you're actually going to need to be pulling from the old industry to keep the doors open. And this was something, y'all, I forgot. Now, I could have, if you don't want to straddle the fence, you can go the investor and the capital route. So that's your other route. If you're doing something completely new, you can always go the capital, get some capital, get investors, do all that to keep you afloat. That's the other thing. That's like what the Amazons and the Apples and a lot of the venture people do, right? They're literally creating something new and it's going to take a minute. It's going to take at least probably a decade for it to really tip over. And so you're going to need funding up into there. You got like a 5 to 10 year until you're probably making some money. And so you're going to need to just like put money in. And maybe you're able to do that personally, but you have to know that that's what you're going into. It's just kind of how this physical realm works. And don't get me wrong, I 100% believe things can happen even faster, but that's kind of the standard. And sometimes, you know, the physical realm, the standard holds true very often, but you do see the outliers. So it is possible for it to, but usually the first takes a minute. And so you can do it that way. I did not want to do it that way. I did not want investors. I did not want to raise capital. I did not want anybody touching my company. That's just me. That's a personal decision. I've had a lot of colleagues and friends go the investment route. I've had some of them really love it. I've had a lot of them, you know, the investment route, you're giving a pieces away of your company. You're giving control away of your company. And sometimes that can change. You know, I often look at some of the companies like the Facebooks of the world and the Amazons of the world, and you look at them and you see why they were started and the beautifulness of why they were started. And you often see it get so lost when investors come in because investors make it all about money, which I also get. Because at the end of the day, again, guys, your business needs to create money. There needs to be revenue. Whether it's you investing in it, somebody else investing in it, or you're making it, your business is going to require money. It is a living, breathing ecosystem that requires input for output. And so you gotta have that from somewhere. You know, when I started my business, I was fortunate enough that I had cash that I could invest as like seed money to boom, get it going. It's really hard for a lot of people out in this world who want to start businesses and they don't have cash in hand. Is it impossible? No. But I also think a lot of people do the whole like leaving their job and stop making money to do this. Look at, there's nothing shameful about keeping your income coming in while you're building something right here so that you have the cash flow to do it. And I think a lot of the entrepreneur world puts kind of like a stigma on that where, hey, you need money, you need money, you need money, you need money. Like that is how it works. So you need money to do the things, to get the business moving. And so I didn't want investors. And so I had to kind of straddle the world a little bit. Like we're over here creating this new industry, this new human development industry, which I love and I'm so excited for. And we're blowing the mold off of a lot of things and doing new stuff, but the world doesn't quite get it totally. We got a lot of early adapters who are jumping in and loving it, and I'm so excited for that, right? But at the end of the day, we need more people and more cash and all sorts of stuff. And so let's go to this other industry. Let's go to these other people that might not quite get human development yet, but they're going to love it once they do. And let's keep talking to them because they are awesome people. And there are people that are going to get it down the road. And so if you're somebody that's really wanting to do something new, pay attention to that other group that's kind of like the group that's going to get it. That's going to get it. And so when we look at our marketing, when we look at our sales and our converting, we want to go and look at our competitors. And I don't even like to call them competitors, but you know what I'm saying? The people who are doing things similar to us. The people that are doing things similar to us, look at their streamline and see, is mine similar? Look at the people who are making the big sales. This is why you see guys often like somebody works with somebody and then like they have like almost the exact same looking thing, right? Because it worked. And if they're a person or they have a product that works in that streamline, then it's going to be a quicker success. It's going to be a quicker success. And again, if it doesn't work, call it out, and it often will. The other thing you're going to want to look for when it comes to your marketing and your sales is find the gap. Go look at your competitors, go see what they're doing, and then find the gap. Is there a gap in what they're doing that you can fill? We have always done extremely well in our business filling in a gap, right? So it's like when we were in the manifesting world, everybody was talking affirmations, positive thinking, da, 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 da. But that's actually not how you manifest. Like, that's why it's not working for most of you. Like, you actually need to know this piece. Fill the gap. This right here. How did I market this? Hey guys, there's a bunch of things in marketing that are great, but like you're missing these pieces. You're missing this about procrastination, and you need to know this about emotional resilience. Fill the gap. If you have a gap to fill, go fill it. Go look at how your competitors are streamlining their marketing, and then go talk about where they're falling short. Where they're falling short. And so I had to get over all my bullshit around being wounded over my breakup, my swear off of marketing and sales, and realize I'm going to run this company into the ground if I don't switch it around. And at the end of the day, and we're going to talk about this on day 2 and day 3, a lot of it had to do with my belief in myself too. I lost faith. I lost faith in my product. I lost faith in myself. And in doing that, I like made really bad decisions. And all at the end of the day, the deepest layer is that belief. Do you believe it's possible for you? Do you believe you get to have this? One of the easiest ways you can know if you believe it's possible for you is when you see people doing and having what you want. Are you excited about it, or are you jealous and resentful of it? Because when you're jealous and resentful, and you need to really be honest with yourself too, because I think as humans, we're so trained to try to like look at the positive that we try to like be like, oh yeah, of course, I'm really happy. And then day 3, we're going to dive into this deeper and how to actually use this so you can start to clear this out. Because when we're looking at people and we're actually resentful and jealous, that is an indication. When we're jealous and resentful, that's an indication that we actually don't believe it's possible for us. We actually do not believe it's possible for us. And that's why we're annoyed. Because we're like, well, that sucks that they get to do it. Where when we actually think it's possible for us, we actually start to get inspired. And not by everybody, because there's still some people doing really shitty things out there, right? In the world that have what we want, but you're still not going to feel jealous or resentful of it. You're going to be more like, I want that. And I'm glad you can do it, but I'm not doing it that way. Like, not for me. Like, the energy around it is very different. If you're looking at people who just have what you want and maybe they just did it in a different way or whatever like that, and you're really feeling like this stupid, like deep down inside, you're not believing it's possible for you. And if you're not believing it's possible for you, like, we got to start there, because you can do all the marketing, you can do all the things, you can have the streamline. And if you don't believe you get to have it and you don't believe that it gets to be for you, It's going to be cricket, cricket, crickets. And I got into a whole vortex of that, of just feeling like this doesn't get to be for me. I'm a terrible person. Nobody, nobody's going to buy from us, blah, 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 and then made some really bad business decisions and just got myself into this whole vortex. Now, luckily, we're out of it. Snapped myself out of it, went back to the work that I know and love and teach and have built a business on and literally transformed everything within like a couple months. Like it doesn't take long once you know how to do this, but it was a year. It was a really, really rocky year because of that and because I forgot about the marketing principles. So, you guys, start wrapping this up. Sales. Anyone can learn sales. Any single person in this entire world can learn sales. It's a strategy. But again, it has to be seamless and you have to believe it gets to happen for you. The best people in sales are people that walk in there and they're like, I'm getting this. Like, I want this. I deserve this. Like, that's why, because they back it. And another thing too is go out and look to see if your concept has been proven. Remember, again, if you're out there doing something new, try to find the next best thing and see if that concept has been proven and see if you're able to tap into that industry at all to kind of seed money the new industry. And if you're somebody doing something similar, go see if your concept has been proven and their seamless approach so that you can start going. And if, like I said, if you see this and you see, oh, I'm not doing this, or oh, this is why, call it out. Create a whole like disruptive marketing almost campaign around why you're different. And that will trigger that part of the brain that was saying, something's not right here, to go, oh yeah, that's not right here. Oh, but they explained it. Oh, so now it is okay to buy. It makes it seamless. And now in regards to money, which I'm already over and I haven't even gotten to the whole money thing, but we've talked a little bit about how important money is. When it comes to money, one of the biggest things I have learned about people in general is you have to figure out how making money feels good to you, how marketing, how all of this feels good to you in a way. Because if you're doing something in your business that you absolutely hate, it's not going to be sustainable. It's not going to be sustainable. You're going to hate your business. You're going to hate doing it. It's not going to work. There are no less probably than 5 million ways to market things and to make money, and they all work. Like, I don't know if there is more opportunities than ever before in this world to make money. I mean, like, you can sign up for things and go be a Lyft driver tomorrow and make cash. Like, there are so many ways to make money in this world. But what's stopping you from it? What's rattling around in your head? When I teach on money, also on our YouTube, The Truth About Money, go check that out. Money, there's no rules around money. The only rule around money is here, and money is here for you. You end up deciding how it comes to you. And we have a whole bunch of bullshit rattling around in our heads when it comes to money. I have to work hard for money. I have to do these things for money to come to me. I have to have this in place before money can get to me. I want money to come through me and not this thing. We have all these rules. Bad people, money is bad. Debt's bad. This is bad. All of these things that just kind of keep money at bay from us. One of the big ones for me, and this is where you really have to explore your money story, because you have to remember businesses are about 2 things: getting a product or a service out into the world that is needed. This is often where your passion comes in, right? And a lot of times people make businesses about passion. Like, I love when Tony Robbins is like, just give to the world. Just give to the world, and your business will thrive and you will become a millionaire. And I'm like, bullshit, Tony Robbins. You have some of the best damn marketing out there. And you've had some of the best damn marketing since the get-go. You were, long before you ever helped people feel good about themselves, you actually taught people how to sell shit. Like, you had a company that was just strictly on teaching people how to sell shit. So don't, like all of these people like, oh, just find your why and everything falls into place. Oh, just follow your passion. Yes and no. You do want to find your passion because that's where the magic happens. When you find the passion and you learn how to market it, that is the gold, kids. That's the gold because now you love what you're doing, but you're also being able to get it out into the world and do it. But if you're just following your passion and you're just talking about your passion and it's not streamlined and it's not in a way that people get it and it's not all these things, you're going to keep hitting a wall. You're going to keep hitting a wall. And so you want to find your passion, but something I had to really figure out with money is you need to find your passion around money. What is it? I talked about this in our membership in our wealth code course a few weeks ago for those of you that are in it that may not have watched it. And for those of you that might join our membership, I talked about this, our expansion point. What about money gets us excited? And I know there's always people that tell me, well, I'm not in it for the money. Bullshit. Stop saying that. Stop trying to pretend like you don't like money. Stop trying to pretend like you don't want money. Money makes the world go round. You cannot be yourself and or live your life fully unless you have a boatload of money. And let's be real, in this world, you really can't do it right now. With the way everything's going up and all sorts of stuff, it costs money to live in this world. It costs money to get to do the things you want to do in this world. You need to be passionate about bringing money into your life, but you also need to be passionate about doing it in a way that also feels good to you. So I'll give you an example. One of the biggest times I push money away is when making money stops being fun. So when making money for me is not fun, I look back at 2022 and I'm like, duh, it like wasn't fun to me. I didn't like what we were doing. I felt like it was just a drain. Money was not fun. And so I just didn't even want it. I was like, wow, this isn't even fun. It's not fun. I got to have fun when I make my money. Now I look at someone like my husband, he's the complete opposite. He needs to have a lot of safety around his money. He likes very concrete, safe, structured. He knows this. I like exciting. I like the excitement in the money. Like I could easily be a day trader. Like I could lose my life to day trading. One of the reasons I don't do it is because like it's so fun to me. Like I'm like, oh, I just made $20,000. Oh, I just lost $5,000. Hold on, let's see if we can get it back. Let's see if we can get it back. Like, right? Like I could be an easily gambling addict. Actually, I couldn't. I feel like gambling for whatever reason I get bored with pretty quick. But either way, I like money in that way. A lot of people don't. A lot of people he likes very stable flows. It's one of the reasons I actually shifted how I did my business, was very much so that he felt more comfortable with the business, is having more of a stability portion of it and then able to have a fun, exciting part of it as well. And so I had to learn that about myself, and I have to watch that with my money story. I have to watch when all of a sudden money's feeling like a drain, because then I just start and learn how to navigate and shift that energy, which is what we're going to talk about more in day 3. And so you guys really, when it comes to owning a business, having a company, building a business, you have got to look at what is rattling around in your brain, your nervous system, your body around money, because that's your money funnel. And it gets a whole lot more interesting when you have a company. What happens is when you're being paid through a job, you often don't make that money mean anything about you because it's standard, it's normal. I do a job, I get paid. When you are owning a business or a company, all of a sudden you make that money mean something about you. All of a sudden when you're not making money, it means something about you. All of a sudden when you make a lot of money, it means something about you. All of a sudden if people aren't paying, it means something about you. Like all of a sudden your business becomes you, your money becomes you, everything is you, and it hits different. And all of a sudden, all the stuff you had about yourself, not feeling good enough, not feeling this, not feeling that, blah, 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 all of a sudden starts showing up in how money can flow to you through this thing. That's why people often say to me, I don't understand. I left this corporate job. I was making $250,000 a year. Why can't I just bring it in over here in my company? Well, because you obviously have more stuff rattling around about you and money and all sorts of stuff that needs to be sorted. It needs to be sorted. Otherwise, it's going to be a long journey growing a business. And that's not fun. We want business to be fun. We want what you're doing, your companies, what you're building to light you up. We want it to where you're waking up every day and this actually feels good. And so that takes some exploration. That takes us understanding what types of marketing actually feel good for us. But the thing, again, we got to clear out the bullshit around it, because a lot of times we're just saying, I don't want to do any of it. Oh, I want this business, but none of it feels good to me. That's not the truth. The truth is you have a bunch of stuff that needs to be dealt with so that you can go do the things you actually are called to do the thing you want to have in your life, this company, this ability, this thing you want to build. And so we actually have to start sorting through that. So your homework for today, I want you guys to go look at your business and look and see, is it seamline? Is it seamless? Is it making sense? From the start to the finish, is it making sense? And I want you then to take a look at what's rattling around in your head around marketing and money. When I say go market your stuff, what are the things that are coming out? What are you thinking about marketing? Just journal it out. What words are coming up when you think money and marketing? When you think about making money in your business, what comes up? When you think about selling people, when you think about leads, I'm using a lot of trigger words people don't like in business. Leads, people say, oh, I hate when people call people leads. Why? Just a freaking name to make things easier. They're still people. Nobody's saying they're not people. So what's rattling around in there? And then last but not least, who are you judging? Which of your competitors do you have little things rattling around about? So look at your business. Is it streamlined? How do you feel about marketing? How do you feel about money? How do you feel about sales? And who are you judging? Who's bigger than you, getting their workout up here? And what do you really feel about them? What do you really think about them? Let's see all the goods that are rattling around in there. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to be back here, same time, same place, and we're going to be diving into procrastination, because that's one of the biggest problems, right? We can sit here all day. I can give you the strategies. I can tell you, you need to go out and you need to grow this audience. It doesn't matter how you do it. You can do it online. You can do it through people. You can do it through talking. You can do it through networking. You can do it through billboards. You can do it through newspapers. I mean, there's a million ways to market. You have to figure out which one feels the best to you. And even after you do that, then you have to go do it. So we're going to tie in some of those questions, those homework questions, to tomorrow to start really uncovering some of the deep-seated reasons as to why we're procrastinating, so that we can move through that. All right, beautiful humans. I hope that was amazing. I have been wanting to say all of this stuff for a long time. I feel like there might even be a course that comes out of me, never thought I would teach another business course, but there might just be one that pops out here in the fall. We'll see. But I think there might be one. If you're in our membership, stay tuned. There might be a marketing course showing up, because I just feel like we're missing the ball on a lot of the things. So tomorrow we'll be back here. We are going to talk procrastination. I also have a couple exciting things to talk about as well. So we're going to have an awesome time. And yeah, thanks for joining me. I'm glad we had a good group of beautiful humans, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow.